Listen to this. What? Hey crew, I've got the key to that 23 BMW i7 xDrive 60. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. The face of this new 7 Series, controversial to say the least, stood out a lot more on the white 760i I drove not too long ago, but blends in better with this deep frozen gray paint. It's got a nice matte finish to it. The grille is in gloss black here with the M Sport trim. The split headlight setup gives us the LED DRLs and turn signals up top and the projector LED headlights down low. There are functional corner vents, and as we move to the side, we'll see this optional set of 21-inch M Sport wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires, 255 section front and 285 at the rear. Within those wheels are upgraded M Sport brakes with black painted calipers. There's that matte finish for the door mirror caps, gloss black for the window trim and door handles. And as we step back to look at the profile, this is a view I'm into because it incorporates the E38 7 Series styling, like the straight character line and the upright face and rear end. As we get to the back, on this M Sport trim, there's a black lip spoiler and black outlines for the LED taillights and turn signals. Down low is a prominent black gloss diffuser. And like the profile, I'm into the rear end. But the face is only saved by this paint job, and it shouldn't take a paint job to save a design. But what do you guys think? Is this better or worse looking than the Lucid Air or the Mercedes-Benz EQS? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. To open these rear doors, you can either stick your hand inside the cutout and press up on the pad, or press on the dot and step back to let it open for you, revealing a smoke white full merino leather interior with seat quilting, rear seat heating, ventilation, and optional massage with padded pillows. And on the doors are 2 tones of leather with more perforations, a nice wide padded armrest that can be heated. Quilting is down here, and then there's an upgraded Bowers & Wilkins sound system with these metal speaker grates, along with a tablet for each of these back passengers to control all of their conveniences. You can place a phone call, you can raise or lower the blinds, you can set the ambient lighting, you can control your seat, and you can bring down the 31-inch 8K display, which we will do momentarily. Stepping inside and closing up the door automatically. This is behind my own seat at 6 feet tall. I've got plenty of leg room. The foot pockets are decent size to slide my feet under. Thigh support is solid and headroom is plentiful. That gets the thumbs up from me. Back here we also have a USB-C port behind each of these back seats. Then your air vent controls are down here. Your climate settings are found within your tablet. You've got a wireless smartphone charging pad. You can send this forward to find 2 cup holders. And under the padded quilted console, we find a little bit of storage with 2 USB-C ports. You'll notice I've teleported to the passenger side and removed my shoes in the process so that I can show you the setup over here with the leg extensions, the footrests. I'm fully stretched out and I'm appreciating the glass roof. Or should I actually appreciate the theater mode screen? So I'll hit this button here. All of the blinds will come up. The screen will come down. And we can revel in this totally unique experience among full-size luxury sedans. This is wild, friends. All right, finished my nap in a movie, so let's do the rest of this. Hit the button here, and the door opens for me. As you might expect, the rear doors soft close for you, and the fronts auto open. Doesn't get old. These front seats, like the back, are heated, ventilated, and massaging with that cool quilted pattern. There are M Sport tread plates, really thick carpets, and aluminum accented foot pedals. On the doors, more 2 tones of leather, more quilting, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. There's this etched glass looking trim here that's very cool, and it houses your memory seats and the massage settings. If you press down here, it will pop open the trunk lid. and show you a giant 19 cubic feet of space. The rear seats do not fold down to expand your storage options, but because this is an EV, we've got some additional storage underneath here for your charging cables, though there is not a front trunk like a lot of EVs for extra storage space. Power close and lock feature on the trunk lid. Stepping inside and auto closing this door. Drivers find a leather-wrapped, thickly padded steering wheel with a cool, sporty flat bottom. You have a digital instrument cluster and infotainment system within the same curved glass housing, and this infotainment is now running the iDrive 8 software, which is visually compelling, and the layout is very intuitive. You can customize it to your liking. It's responsive, and it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Around the screen, we've got leather, carbon fiber, and more of that etched glass looking trim that had some HVAC controls. Most of them have been moved into the infotainment system, and this button to open your glove box. Here we've got a wireless smartphone charging pad. You've got two cup holders underneath this gloss black that goes in too many places and it will smudge and scratch and collect dust. We've got crystal selectors here for your infotainment if you don't want to touch the screen. They're also for your seat settings there. You've got a volume dial here, your gear selection, and under the padded console, we find a little bit of storage with two USB-C ports. Visibility is good, and you do have standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. See a little bit of that carbon fiber on the side of the seat too, and this is a suede wrapped headliner. The luxuries inside the i7's cabin, with a lot of options here, and I didn't mention the head-up display, is extravagant. This is really stylish, it's comfortable, it's high-tech. I'm very impressed, but let's take the new i7 for a drive next. All right, let's fire it up. Certainly sounds like we're powered up, that's for sure. And before we go anywhere or do anything, let's look at our range. So right now it says we've got 93% charge in the battery and quotes us at 270 miles. If we had 100% under these conditions, then that would mean we had 289 miles of range, which is off the pace of the EPA estimate of 308 miles on these 21-inch wheels. If we had smaller wheels, it'd be 318 miles. So a little less to start. We'll see how it holds up during our drive. And if we hit the My Mode button, then we can select our drive mode, even though they want to call it My Mode. These are a little different than you'll find in normal vehicles, where you'd have like a normal, a sport, a comfort. Here we've got personal, which as far as I can tell is normal, sport, which is the only mode you can customize, efficient, which is like eco, expressive, which I'll show you in a second, relax, and theater. I'll hit this button. All the blinds come up, you get that very theatrical music, and if these seats weren't as far back as they are, then the 31-inch screen would be clear to come down. But as is, you have to have the driver's seat and front passenger seat really far forward to make it come down. Then if we go back to My Modes, if I want at least the top sun blind to come down, then I can hit expressive, and it will retract. But if I want a single button press to bring all the other blinds down, I've got to hit this, and then hit open all blinds. It's kind of a lot of steps. But those are your modes. We'll start out in personal, and then to go into reverse, I click forward on the crystal selector, and that brings up a very high resolution camera system. We got your bird's eye view off to the right, a panoramic view. We can go into more, and you get a 3D projection, and here you can use gestures to make your way around the car. Always fun. Super wide angle for the rear or front views. And then if I hit backup assist, then it will back the vehicle up, as long as I modulate the throttle and brake, along the same path I used to get into this space. And we're good from there. Down into drive. And away we go. Let's kick things off with a world famous horn test here. Yes. Dignified. Move, peasants. Turn signal sound. It's just classic BMW right there. Nothing wrong with that. For our powertrain, right now there is only one flavor of electric 7 Series. It is the xDrive 60, which uses 2 electric motors paired with a 101.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack, producing 536 horsepower and 549 pound-feet of torque. Because of the dual motor setup, we've got all-wheel drive, and that power figure matches the 760i, the new 760i, though the torque figure is just a little bit less. What you can hear barely in the background there are some of famous composer Hans Zimmer's sounds that he created for BMW's i-Series products, and distinct ones for this i7. You can turn those off at any time if you want the silent driving experience, but I think they're kind of cool, and they do change with the drive mode. Like all EVs, that torque is delivered instantly, so you can quickly, efficiently get up to speed, but the calibration of the throttle is such that I don't feel like I get going too quickly before I realize what's happening. On this adaptive suspension with air springs, the i7 just floats down the road. Road imperfections are pummeled down so as not to disturb occupants. The worst thing that happens is over certain impacts, interior trim does creak, which is bizarre, but not totally unique to this car. I've been in Range Rover vehicles where the wood or the plastic was creaking pretty harsh. The seating position is just right for me. Lots of adjustability here, and I happen to be getting a massage right now, so that's nice. Let's try out the turning radius next. Fully cranked. Oof, we can see the advantages of the rear wheel steering system immediately pivoting the car right around. And as a driver, giving you confidence that you can maneuver this very long, very large sedan in tighter spaces with ease. Helping, once again, to put you relaxed, to make you relaxed. So let's go into the relaxed drive mode while we're speaking of it. Sunshades have deployed once again. The iconic sounds take on like an ethereal tone. In terms of braking regeneration, you have lots of different settings to choose from. Right now I'm in adaptive, which will modulate the intensity of the regen based on the vehicles in front of me. You can go to full one-pedal drive by pulling back on the gear selector to go into B, and it's a true one-pedal drive for us. Let's talk speed next with a real-world 0 to 60 test. For that, I've got my race box set up over here because I wasn't getting any reception on the front glass, and I'm going to move into the Sport Drive mode, which will disable traction control as I've calibrated it, and then allow us to use launch control, where I will put my foot hard on the brake while pinning the throttle and then release the brake to get us off the line quickly. There we go, 0 to 60 in 4.35 seconds. That beats BMW's own estimate of 4.5 seconds. And that launch came with some pretty wild blast-off music. Ooh, I liked it. You go, Hans Zimmer. You've got a sense of humor. And what is cool about having the full one-pedal drive enabled is that when I do quick acceleration, the moment I pull my foot off the throttle, it'll bring me back down to sane speed. So if you're going to pass an officer of the law, you might have fun and then see them and then come back to, oh, I'm not doing anything, sir. I'm just casually motoring about silently. That's another benefit of an EV. You don't make a lot of noise outside the car when you're going by someone who may not want you to be going that fast. Fun inside, mellow outside. Now, before you get up in arms that I didn't use the boost paddle, which in theory gives us access to all of the power available, I'll tell you this. I did a launch under almost the exact same conditions, almost the same battery level, same sport mode, same traction off, all that stuff, and I got the exact same 0 to 60 time. I'll play that clip for you right now. Here goes. Woo! 4.35 seconds to 60. It would appear then that at least in launch control, using boost or not doesn't really make a difference. But here at speed, if I try in sport mode, no boost, putting my foot down versus now trying with boost, there is a small, and I do mean small, discernible difference in the way the car feels. I can't really tell you tracking the speed whether it was quicker in boost, but the car does feel more ready to go when you're in boost. Like the throttle response is there, it's eager, it's willing to accelerate, whereas sport is just willing. Either way, the moral of the story is the i7 is plenty quick for all your needs, though not as quick as the 760i. But quickness isn't all this vehicle has going for it. So I want to now show you my favorite, my absolute favorite, iconic sounds mode. Listen to this. What? One more time. Does that not sound like when you're in a movie theater and they play that THX sound experience? Like, welcome to your theatrical experience. They have a theater mode. This isn't theater mode. This is expressive. And you can adjust, you can fine tune that sound. This is what I look for in a modern EV. Not just having the quickness, because that can fade in terms of the fun over time, but having other layers of entertainment here. I'm a child, but I'm a child who's entertained. And I've gone back to sport for one last demonstration of the i7's performance, and I've turned off the one pedal driving so that we can get a good feel for the braking. We'll carry some speed into this curve, clamp down hard on those brakes, turn in, little understeer correctable with liftoff. That was seriously impressive. For one, I loved the sensitivity of the brakes. Unlike so many other EVs, a direct rival of this being a comparison, the Mercedes-Benz EQS that has a horrible transition between friction and regen braking at full ABS. I knew exactly how much stopping power we had, and it was considerable given the 5,900 pounds of weight. The turn-in was quick. The body stayed pretty darn flat thanks to the active anti-roll bars that are equipped to this spec of car. And it felt very fluid through the curve, and you could play with it a bit. It didn't understeer too much, and you could cure it by lifting off the throttle and getting the back end to rotate. Very, very impressive stuff from the i7 in a curve. Now let's play around with the driving aid. So if I hit this button here, it will activate the assisted driving program, which will provide steering assistance and lane change assist. So if there's an opening, indicating that direction, and it will change lanes for us. But this one needs you to check in on the wheel. If the Assist Plus is available and I hit mode once more, then when the green bars are illuminated, meaning that you're paying attention, which you should always be doing, then you can take your hands off the wheel at speeds up to 80 miles per hour, and the car will navigate every obstacle for you without issue. This is ultra sophisticated. This is cutting edge for current generation driving aids, and it is really nice to have on a longer trip. Let's check in on our range as well. So we had on the odometer 3427 when we started. We've got 3518 right now, so we've driven 91 miles, and the range estimate dropped from 269 to now 168. So it says we've dropped 101 miles of range for our 91 miles driven. A delta of 10 miles is really not bad, especially given how much I was pushing the car at certain intervals during our drive. So that tells me that the real world range will hold up in this car, though our start of what was equivalent 100% charge was about 20 miles less than the EPA estimates. Not to get too far into it, real world range is pretty darn good in the BMW i7. And in terms of charging, BMW provides 3 years of free fast charging at Electrify America stations, which I have not had a great experience with personally, not just with BMW vehicles. EA just always has issues. But if you can find a fast charger and it works, then you can add 80 miles of range in just 10 minutes, or via level 2, you can top up the battery overnight. That is now going to lead me to my miles per hour word of the day for the i7, which is harmonious, meaning consistent or in agreement. I feel like that's a characterization of all of the factors to the i7. They all just gel together so well to provide this really luxurious driving experience, and the electric powertrain aids in that. The smoothness of the power delivery is just one more dimension to this car's luxury credentials. Now for the pricing and competition. The starting figure for the i7 is $120,000, and this one, as tested, is $156,500. It competes with vehicles like the Tesla Model S long range that starts at $106,000. It makes 670 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and has a range of 412 miles. It also competes with the Lucid Air Grand Touring that starts at $140,000, which makes 819 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3 seconds flat, and has a range of 469 miles. And finally, the Mercedes-Benz EQS 580 that starts at $127,000, makes 516 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3.8 seconds rather, and has a range of 340 miles. So on paper at least, though the i7 is the second least expensive to the Tesla Model S long range, it does not win in terms of power, 0 to 60 quickness, or total range. All of those things go to the Lucid Air Grand Touring. Why then would you choose this vehicle? Well, in terms of ride comfort, and this is very important, the feeling of space inside this cabin, where so many EVs with the batteries in the floor make you feel compressed in the cabin. They've got low roof lines, so you kind of have to just contort your body to get inside them. And then when you're in them, you feel like it's harder to see out of them. The i7 feels just as sprawling as the standard internal combustion 760i, and that is a huge win for transitioning internal combustion buyers to EVs in that luxury space. And I made the bold claim that the Lucid Air Grand Touring had the most luxurious cabin of EVs on sale, and I have to correct myself. After driving this i7, it's got the tech, it's got the traditional comfort, it's got the quietness, it's got the smoothness that make it the most luxurious now. If I was going to go choose an EV full-size luxury sedan, it'd be between this and the Lucid Air GT, and this car might have the edge. 300 miles is enough, the power is enough, the performance is good enough, and the luxury is just exceptional. Which would you guys choose of the vehicles I mentioned? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell to get notified, and boost mode. Just because I have to. I'll see you next time.